Direção à mata. Aí sumiu, mas o helicóptero continuou.
Seguindo a luz.
Seguindo a luz, depois ficou transitando.
Eram quantos helicópteros?
2 helicópteros, a princípio, as que eu vi foram 2, e depois, na hora que esses 2 foram embora, foram mais 2 embora. Tinham 4 helicópteros aqui, na verdade.
E a sua visão é de que eles estavam perseguindo essa luz vermelha.
Acompanhando o tempo todo essa luz vermelha. Quando ele desceu, essa luz vermelha desceu na direção da mata, que sumiu, que apagou tudo, e teve um barulhão, e o helicóptero ficou ainda sobrevoando toda a área de mata.
A região que o senhor Marcelo mora aqui em Pau Grande é cercada.
What if I told you there was an encounter with something possibly alien that blows anything like the Roswell crash or the Rendlesham Forest incident completely out of the water and happened as recently as 2020? Never heard of it, right? Well, that's no accident because this thing was scrubbed from the internet with the quickness. We're talking about a violent days-long contact in the city of Mage, Brazil in May of 2020 between the Brazilian and US military and what may have been extraterrestrial intruders. Today we're talking about the Mage encounter, and boy, do we have receipts. I'm Max Powers, this is PARASYKE TV. Thank you so much for clicking this video. Like the video now. Like I said, everything about this event was wiped initially. Thousands of tweets, hundreds of videos, and still images and witness reports. Gone. Anonymous Shadow on Twitter has gone absolutely hard in the paint, dredging the internet for a ton of the original videos, posts, and witness reports. Some of which I'll be sharing on here, so Anonymous Shadow, you're a legend. And I also got a lot of information from one Reddit post that was posted on UFO by Jason Green 3 years ago, who had the foresight to archive most of the pages he captured and linked in his post. So Jason Green 3, also a legend, thank you. So on the night of May 12th, 2020, residents in the area surrounding Mage near Rio de Janeiro in Brazil were awakened by a loud noise outside. It seemed as though several planes or helicopters were circling in the sky above the area. As the locals began to make their way into the streets to investigate the sounds they heard, they started seeing and filming what definitely looks like a UFO or UAP.
que é aquilo ali no céu, velho? Fala pra mim. Dá uma olhada. Mano do céu, fala sério.
Gente, pelo amor de Deus, eu acabei de olhar aqui, ó, no telescópio. Olha isso. Olha a luz, olha isso. Olha o OVNI, meu Deus do céu. Vocês viram? Eu não consigo parar de tremer, calma. Olha isso. Olha.
Uma coisa anormal. Recomendo aí outro vídeo, né, da mesma luz vermelha que foi visto.
No, es un dron, vamos a subir. Están apareciendo de la nada. No me chingues. Güey, están apareciendo de la nada, ¿viste? ¿Subió, no? No, güey, ¿cómo es un dron? No aparecen de la nada, Alejandra. ¿Viste cómo apareció? Sí, así se prendió de repente nada más. Está subiendo, son fuertes. Pues el otro no se apaga para ser fuerte. Ya se apagó, ya.
Não é avião. Olha. Você consegue ver que não é um avião. Parece um balão.
Mano, aqui, mano, olha isso, cara. Dá pra ver, ó. Tipo um núcleo no meio, tá ligado? Caralho, que tá vendo?
Sightings had actually started in late April, and not only in this city, but all over Brazil.
Sí, pues.
Tiene luces ellos, ¿no?
Sí.
I know what you're thinking, it's drones or it's Starlink. All sightings are drones or Starlink now. But if there's one thing we know about the Mage encounter, it's that the Brazilian military, and according to multiple reports and one whistleblower, the US military, reacted to these sightings with a ton of force. After the 12th, it seems as though sightings in Mage continued, but something changed in those couple days. On the 14th, a couple incredible clips went absolutely viral, before being almost immediately scrubbed from the internet. First we have this, what seems to be military artillery detonating around UFOs in an absolutely wild clip. Then there's this clip. Although I have seen evidence that this particular clip could just as easily be from a meteor shower. Witnesses claim to have seen not one, but two unidentified flying objects crash. It does kind of look too good to be true, but people did say they saw it crash, so who knows? There is a much more realistic, grainy video showing a burst of bright light and explosion over a ridge. The person that posted this video was confirmed via local media to be a local resident. The area shown in this video apparently perfectly matches up with being behind Imbel, an arms manufacturing facility in Mage. Next morning, an intrepid young group made their way to the Imbel facility with a plan to fly their drone up above the forest behind Imbel where they believed the crash site would be. This is what they saw.
Bomba essa porra.
And it wasn't just them, many residents caught video and audio of what sounds like a firefight in the woods as military helicopters and vehicles flood the area.
Tá escutando, gente? Será que isso é normal por aqui? Vou tentar o pessoal que mora aqui. Acho que estão explodindo o ET. Estão acabando com as provas, pra ninguém ver. The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead. Não, sério. Será que não estão explodindo, não? A nave espacial? Ó, por enquanto, demos a volta em tudo. Já vamos sair daqui de parte de trás. Meu Deus, que barulho alto. Gente, que coisa maluca que tá acontecendo.
Levando aqui, tá estranho.
Gente, aqui ó, tô na estrada aqui do Arco Metropolitano, indo pra Tresópolis. Aqui do lado é Pau Grande, Magé. Se liga, olha isso. Caraca, mano, tão atrás do ZT. Aí, ó, o exército tá escondendo alguma coisa.
Isso.
According to witnesses, there were two crashes, one behind the Imbel facility and one further into the mountains. What we have so far: confirmed UFO/UAP sightings for weeks leading up to a mass sighting on the 12th. Seemingly confirmed engagement between military aircraft and the unknowns. reported crashes with video the night of the 13th or 14th, with what sounds like a firefight happening for hours the next day, and a visible hole in the tree canopy showing some trees sheared in half. The locals' claim was where one of the crafts had gone down. Now things are about to get absolutely wild and crazy, hard to believe, but I'm just reminding you this is just what was coming out at the time. Multiple different people both reported and got some video of US military ground forces arriving, wearing black armor, and that they used some sort of beam weapon to down the two crashed UFOs. And as crazy as the beam weapon part sounds, I don't know if it's that far-fetched. Directed energy weapons, or DEWs, have been rumored by conspiracy theorists and leaked by alleged military whistleblowers for the better part of 2 decades. I'll never forget seeing this footage of what looks like a red beam coming down during some massive California wildfires. Anyways, moving to what Jason Green 3, the Redditor who compiled a lot of this information, describes as anecdotal evidence. One of the locals claimed that one of the employees at the Inbel facility had died, and this is apparently corroborated by the victim's sister posting on Facebook. When translated, does say just that. The sister is exposing that her brother passed away in a suspicious explosion, and that it needs to be investigated. One resident reported that their car battery completely drained as he was approaching the Inbel facility to get a look at the crash. One woman claimed that the night of the mass sighting, she heard a loud humming noise and said her hair stood on end or was charged by static electricity. The mayor of Mage had actually been one of the original people to post video he took of the encounter. There was an anonymous phone call to an open line section of something called WID with Daniel Groth about this event on Sunday the 17th of May 2020. Even the archive of this video had been scrubbed, but Jason Green breaks down the translation. Apparently a friend of the caller's wife lives in Mage and told him that something very large had made impact with the ground in the land behind the Inbel facility. The next morning, the army was there, and the explosions that people were hearing were the army trying to gain access into the craft. The caller goes on to say that 3 alien beings were in the ship. One was shot on sight by the military, while the other 2 escaped into the forest, and that this is why the Brazilian and US Army were searching the forest in the days and weeks after the initial sightings. And finally, he also said that US military showed up with black armor and strange big weapons. Another witness posted their story to Facebook. This testimony was from their female friend who worked at the Inbel facility. She does not reveal the name or identity of the worker because the worker feared to lose her job or worse. The post detailed how the worker was extremely scared and couldn't sleep because she couldn't get the image of the alien being out of her head. According to this Inbel employee, the US military came to deal with the 4 aliens that were on the craft, and they ended up capturing 2. They executed 1 as it left the ship, and 1 had apparently died in the crash. She said at first the employees at Inbel were locked down in the facility, but eventually ordered to leave and keep their heads down so that they wouldn't see anything that was going on. But that she couldn't help it, so she peeked up and apparently saw a being's legs sticking out of a gurney. She overheard a couple of the American soldiers talking about how one of the crash sites they blew up part of the ship so that it wouldn't be able to be seen above water, and that the soldiers were talking about how these encounters were happening more and more often. Just seems a little too good to be true. Then there's this video that claims to be footage of the craft after it crashes.
Consegui furar o bloqueio da empresa, da indústria. Gente, tá aqui mesmo disco voador muito grande, tamanho de ônibus. Gente, muito grande. Não é mentira. Não é mentira, gente.
This video is extremely widespread and even posted multiple times by some of the researchers I was finding. But to me, it looks like a bowl. It looks like a very small, normal object that someone is attempting to film at an angle to make it look bigger. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. There's some very interesting leaked audio that was taken of a Brazilian soldier that was drunk in a bar that was recorded without his permission. Isn't that illegal? According to the translation, the soldier says the craft was teardrop shaped, not your typical flying saucer shape, and seemed to be able to actually change its form. This soldier also claims that there were some humanoid beings and that at least one of them survived. He also says that there was at least one human casualty, so that may be referring to the Imbel facility worker that apparently died. He said locals were being hospitalized after claiming to have interacted with extremely bright lights. And finally, that at least some of the explosions that were caught on film were defensive measures being taken every time the craft would begin to emit a loud hum and glow blue. Jason Green 3 also claims to have spoken with a local who had spent most of the days after May 12th looking for his two neighbors that were farmers, who had farms near the crash site, who he hasn't seen since. So thoughts and prayers. So thoughts and prayers up for the missing farmers. A YouTube video showing footage of the smoking hole in the tree canopy, a user commented this: "I am a member of the armed forces. I will bring updated information so that the entire Brazilian population can learn about the inexplicable events that occurred, and that all residents can have access to the truth of the facts that happened in the municipality of Mage in Rio de Janeiro. Initially, I will draw a timeline so that everyone can understand what was going on. On April 20th, 2020, military satellites in the United States detected a strong presence of unexplained aerial phenomena. International standards determined by NATO informed the Ministry of Defense of Brazil and the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the Armed Forces so that the military air patrols in the Rio de Janeiro region would be intensified, since there would be an increase in activities of this phenomenon in this region. It was immediately determined by the EMCFA that military air patrolling be intensified in Rio de Janeiro with the support of the FAB Air Base in Santa Cruz and the Naval Air Base of Sao Pedro. On May 1st, 2020, the Sindacta 1 radars detected strong activity from unknown aerial phenomena in 5 different cities of Rio de Janeiro, so the military informed Comdabra. On May 12, 2020, the DTCEA PCO of Pico de Quauto in Petropolis detected the increase of inexplicable activities in a very intense way in the region. At about 8 p.m. on this day, the American military reported to Brasilia the fall of an object, or UFO, in a forest region in the municipality of Mage. The United States Department of Defense has ordered General John Raymond to deploy 20 Special Forces soldiers, 10 of whom are from the American Space Force and 10 from the Space Aggressor 26 Squadron, commanded by Captain Barnes. In the early hours of May 13, 2020, the American military disembarked at a military air base in the state of Sao Paulo and traveled in FAB planes to a military base in Rio de Janeiro. The operation, baptized with the codename Oregon Range. It's important to note that the Brazilian military personnel provided only logistical support. The Americans informed that the visits of these objects to Earth have been more and more frequent in the world, and that when arriving at the place of the fall, it was verified there were 3 intruders in the damaged ship. Then at around 7 p.m., the military, armed with advanced technological devices unknown to the Brazilian military, intercepted and slaughtered a humanoid character of approximately 2 meters in height near the River Superb. He even gives the coordinates. The other 2 beings were captured alive and wounded in the Guapiachu region. Again, he gives the coordinates, and transported along with all the displacement material of the intruders to the American military base, May of 2020. All American military personnel have already left Brazil. Only military helicopters in the country patrol the region. After this incident, there were no new expressive reports of sighting of the unexplained phenomenon in the region. One YouTube video where people are asking an Imbel guard some questions about what happened. They asked where the UFO would be taken. The guard was kind of joking around with them, giving them kind of non-serious answers, but when they asked if there was a UFO and if it would be taken to Area 51, the guard seemed to get serious and said, no, not Area 51. It's going to the Oswaldo Cruz Institute. So I looked this up, and the institute says that they act in the area of research, technological development, and innovation, and provide reference services for the diagnosis of infectious and genetic diseases and vector control, supported by internal communities that ensure the biosecurity standards, quality, and environmental management. The Institute also maintains scientific collections of national and international importance. I just think that's an interesting reference, like a really random thing to say if you're just joking around. So there are probably over 50 different interviews and eyewitness report videos given to different YouTube channels and news stations during and shortly after the event. And out of all of them that are still available through the Wayback Machine and translated to English, 1 or 2 crashed UFOs, explosions and what sounds like a firefight, 3 beings escaping from the saucer initially with one of them being taken care of right then and there, and 2 later being captured. That seems to be the talk of the town. There is a lot more detail and personal experience in the reports, but that's the gist of it. Also, in all these statements, they talk about the bright bluish lights emanating from the craft, which is seen in one of the videos made on the night. After viewing so many videos and hearing account after account after account, and experiencing just how much of this information was wiped or attempted to be wiped from the internet, it gets pretty obvious that something involving some very advanced tech happened that night in Brazil.
I went to my computer to check email, and there was a new one from Trajano Paiva in Brazil. He's a producer-director of WPI Films Limited. We met at an American conference, and he keeps me updated a bit on Brazilian UFO news. His email read, quote, UFO in Mage, town near Rio de Janeiro, May 14, 2020. Dear Linda, this event took place in the town of Mage on the night of the 14th of May. The video was made by the people that live there and published at YouTube. Also, they did record a radio conversation between the military that were in the operation for the recovery of the UFO wreckage. And here follows the links for the UFO videos and English translator Lisa Bick's phone number, which is there. Best regards, Trajano Paiva. Now, I called Trajano and I learned that the correct timeline, since he had sent the email, is actually the night of May 11th to 12th, 2020. And I'm now going to show you the video that Trajano thinks is a genuine cell phone live action with police sirens that relates to an alleged hacking of local Mage military radio communications that night of May 11th to 12th about a UFO. I called Portuguese translator Lisa Bick, and over the phone on Saturday, May 17th, she translated for me a Portuguese transcript from Trajano, allegedly from the hacked military radio communication. And here now is Lisa Bick with me on the phone.
Hello.
Yes, Lisa.
Yes, hi, Linda.
Thank you so much for your help. The first thing that I would like to do is to have you read the translation of that audio card. You give me in English the translation from the Portuguese that is in the audio disclaimer at the end of the YouTube tape. And my understanding is this is supposed to be hacked audio into a military radio communication about what has happened between the Brazilian military and UFOs that were videotaped and that I am showing over the city of Mage, Brazil.
Okay, timeline. 7:06. Start of communication by radio between the military teams, base 1, 2, 3, and 4. Radio noise. Number 4 confirms arrival at the station. Alcântara, base. confirms the damage of the object with an American shot.
What do you understand American shot means, Lisa?
No.
You do not understand.
No, I don't.
Go ahead with
Okay,
the rest of the translation that you have in English from Portuguese.
Okay. 717. Confirm if it was shot down. Radio noise, not understandable. 726, 730. Confirm position. Go to the location. You will need 3 or 4 teams. There are too much material to collect. You have to take the small road. 731. Did you copy base 2? 732. By the small road, it's not possible to descend. 740. Did you copy base 3? 737. It doesn't have human appearance. Did you copy? 740. Radio noise. There are only these. There are no more. More radio noise. The others were in such a state that we can only take the ones that are here. 750. Did you copy base 2? Confused audio, not very clear and distorted. They are talking about clothes. 754. Go with protection. Nobody is going to touch those things. 758. These bodies are not human. Over. No way we can touch on those things. 803 till 808. Not understandable. 808 till 811. He is talking about taking down a drone. 812. Confirm if the equipment was taken down. 813. Capture the equipment shot down drone. Also is to be taken to the base. Over. 815. The truck is going down by the small road. Over. 820. Positive base. 4. Over. 823. Go taking it slowly by parts till the factory, and there we will see what to do. 828. It has to be taken with camouflage. Over. 835. Radio voice distorted. Everything is smashed, damaged, and there is no way we can put it there. There are more bodies inside. I have never seen such a thing. These things are not people. 845. Do you copy base 2? 846. Do not approach without proper clothes. Wait till it arrives. Take it as it is. 852. At the patio, it's protected. Closed. Cover everything well so nothing can be seen. Did you copy? 857. Radio noise. 905. Retrieve all cell phones from the guards. Did you copy? Do not allow anyone to record anything. Do you copy? 913. I did copy base 2. 915. Base 1. The American corps from Alcantara is going to the base position and will retrieve the objects. Did you copy? 922. It is to operate within the AGUIA protocol.
What is that translated? What is AGUIA protocol?
AGUIA, AGUIA means eagle.
Means eagle?
Uh-huh.
So this is saying, this last line, that all of this is to operate within the eagle protocol.
Uh-huh.
I went to Google Translate and typed in the Portuguese spelling Aguia, and the English translation is eagle. It makes me wonder if the United States has had a special operations mission in Mage in Brazil, or maybe still has some sort of a mission. It is clear that whatever is all of the issue of proving that the radio transmission that allegedly was hacked, and that I went through the English translation with Lisa Bick, when it talks about there being non-human bodies and other things that seem to suggest that it is like a retrieval of some sort of a strange object that has bodies that are not human. That's at least implied in that translation with Lisa Bick from the alleged Portuguese. And I think that we all would like to have some kind of hard, substantial proof from somebody who has first-hand knowledge. So I extend to journalist colleagues and others in Brazil who may have access to first-hand eyewitnesses that can prove something about what happened in Mage on the night of the 11th going past midnight into the 12th of May. And the idea that there are other video clips of some kind of a military plane. The problem is that what went out on YouTube, except for that 50-second uncut piece that I shared, they were pieces of things without any ability to know exactly what was happening and who had videotaped, and what were there were supposed to be a military compound with explosions, but it was all chopped up. And when you see that video, it's very difficult to know. And Trajano agrees. Trajano in Brazil says what we all need are eyewitnesses who are willing to come forward on the record and proving who they are, name, address, phone number, and showing their raw cell phones if people were there. And he does think that that 50 seconds that I showed you with the sirens running and 18 glowing lights that are doing motions in the sky that are not consistent with things that are astronomical, or perhaps not even consistent with the organization of drones. And this will continue to unfold, and I know you all have questions, but I wanted to leave you with something to think about and anticipate for next week.